Welcome to our deep dive into Penedès, a
Penedès.
Spanish wine region with a history
Yeah,
as rich and complex as its wines.
you got that right. It's a region in Catalonia
Mhm.
that blends centuries-old traditions with,
You
cutting-edge innovations.
And speaking of history, this isn't some recent fad.
Oh,
We're
no.
talking about roots going back to the Roman Empire.
Absolutely. We've got evidence Roman wine press found there
Wow.
with intricate mosaics depicting a grape harvest.
Because they were serious about their wine.
They knew their stuff, even back then.
So you're telling me the Romans were
Yeah.
sipping on Penedès wine
Uh-huh.
while conquering the world?
It's true.
That's impressive.
It is, and that tradition continued, through the ages.
Right.
During medieval times, the monasteries became the guardians
Right.
of winemaking knowledge, expanded the vineyards.
Fascinating.
It's fascinating to see how those monastic traditions still
Yeah.
influence winemaking today.
Monks and wine, always good combination.
Always.
But let's fast forward a bit.
Okay.
I've heard that Penedès wasn't afraid to embrace new ideas,
Right.
even back in the 1800s.
Yeah. They were among the first to adopt French grape varieties,
Okay?
like Cabernet Sauvignon
Interesting.
and Merlot, which, added new dimensions to their wines.
I guess you could say they weren't afraid to borrow a good idea when they saw one.
Right.
But I know Penedès is most famous for its sparkling wine, cava.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, how did that all begin?
Well, picture this. It's the late 19th century.
Okay?
Josep Raventós y Facho,
Okay.
inspired by his travels to the Champagne region,
Yeah.
brings the traditional method of sparkling wine production to Penedès.
Wow.
That moment changed everything.
So he's the OG of cava,
He is.
the one who brought the sparkle to Penedès.
Yeah, he's definitely considered the pioneer. And his family, especially the Raventós y Bulwark winery,
Okay.
has been upholding that legacy ever since.
That's amazing.
They're known for producing some of the finest cava in the region.
Okay, so we have the Romans, the monks, and then this sparkling wine revolution.
Right.
But I can't imagine it was all smooth sailing, right?
Well,
What about phylloxera, the vine disease that
Mhm.
devastated so many vineyards in the 20th century? Did Penedès escape its wrath?
unfortunately not. They faced phylloxera wars
Wow.
and various other challenges, but they always found a way to persevere.
They're like the comeback kids of the wine world.
You could say that they embraced modernization, adopted new technology,
Okay.
and really focused on elevating the quality of their wines.
Wow.
That resilience is a big part of what makes Penedès so special today.
Speaking of today, I understand Penedès is a hub of innovation while still honoring its roots.
Absolutely. Can you tell me more about that?
It's incredible. They're incorporating organic and biodynamic viticulture,
Okay.
experimenting with ancient methods like fermenting in clay amphorae.
Wow.
And get this, they even use wild yeasts for fermentation.
Clay amphorae and wild yeasts.
Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating. It is. It's a blend of old and new.
Yeah.
It's really special.
It seems like they're blending the old and the new to create something truly special.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is they're not just using these techniques for the sake of novelty.
Right.
They're pushing boundaries while maintaining a deep respect for their heritage.
It sounds like they're writing a new chapter in Penedès' long and fascinating history.
They are.
Now, I know we can't talk about Penedès without talking about its terroir,
Mm-hmm.
the unique combination of environmental factors that shapes its wines.
It's true.
So tell me, what's the secret sauce of Penedès?
Well, for starters, it's nestled between the Mediterranean Sea
Okay.
and the majestic Montserrat and Mont Mountains.
Wow.
You have this perfect interplay of warm sunshine,
Yeah,
a gentle sea breeze,
right.
and these mountains that create a mosaic of microclimates and sun exposures.
So it's like a giant playground for grapes,
It is.
with every little nook and cranny,
Mm-hmm.
offering a unique flavor profile.
That's a great way to put it. And the Mediterranean climate plays a key role.
Okay.
Think warm, dry summers, which are ideal
Right.
for ripening grapes, and mild, wet winters.
Sounds idyllic. But how does the sea factor into all of this?
The sea breeze is actually essential.
Okay.
It moderates the temperatures, preventing them from getting too high,
Right.
adds a touch of humidity, and even helps ward off diseases in the vineyards.
So the sea is like a natural air
Ish
conditioner,
it is.
humidifier,
Yes.
and bodyguard for the grapes.
That's a great way to think about it.
That's pretty clever.
It's one of those amazing natural synergies that makes Penedès so special. But there's one more piece of the puzzle we need to add. The soil.
Okay, the soil?
We're talking everything from clay to limestone sandy plains to mountainous schist and granite.
Wow, that's a lot of variety. What does that mean for the wines?
Each soil type contributes its own personality to the wines.
Oh, okay.
You can literally taste the difference
Wow.
between a wine grown in clay soil and one grown in limestone.
That's amazing.
It's a remarkable expression of terroir.
So imagine this. You're scrolling through the Penedès countryside.
Okay.
You see the vineyards stretching towards the mountains.
Yeah.
Feel the warm Mediterranean sun on your skin
Beautiful.
and smell the salty sea
I
breeze.
love it.
It sounds like a dream come true.
It's truly a magical place.
It does. But let's not forget the main attraction, the wines.
You're right.
We've talked about history and terroir,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's time to dive into the stars of the show,
Okay.
the wines themselves.
Let's do it.
And of course, we have to start with cava,
Of course.
Penedès' claim to fame.
Yes.
Tell me what makes their cava so special.
Firstly, it's made using the traditional method, just like champagne's secondary fermentation in the bottle, aging on the lees.
Right.
All those steps that contribute to its complexity.
And that's what gives it
Yeah.
the fine bubbles and the yeasty, toasty note.
Precisely. But it's not just about the method, it's also about the grapes.
Okay.
The heart of cava lies in 3 local grapes, Macabeo,
Xarello
Sarello,
and Perolata.
Perolata. Okay, those names are definitely fun to say.
They are.
But I have to admit, they're not as familiar to me
Right.
as, say, Tempranillo or Albarino.
Sure.
What should we know about these cava grapes?
Well, each one brings something unique to the blend.
Okay,
Macabeo is all about freshness,
okay.
with bright acidity and delicate floral aromas.
Nice.
Zarel adds body structure
Okay,
and a lovely citrusy zing.
I like it.
And finally, there's Perolata,
Parolata.
which brings elegance, finesse,
Okay.
and delicate fruit aromas to the mix.
So it's like each grape has its own personality.
It does.
And together they create this beautifully balanced, complex, sparkling wine.
Exactly. It's a testament to the art of blending,
Yeah.
where each grape plays a crucial role in the final symphony of flavors.
But I know that cava isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of sparkling wine, right? There are different types based on how long they're aged, right?
You're right. It starts with basic cava, which is aged for at least 9 months. Okay.
Then you have cava reserva, aged for a minimum of 18 months.
Okay.
And cava gran reserva,
Hmm.
which spends at least 30 months aging.
So the longer it ages, the more complex and nuanced it becomes.
Exactly. The extended aging allows those yeasty, toasty flavors to develop further,
Right.
and the wine gains more depth and complexity.
But there's one more category, right?
Yes.
Something about a single vineyard.
It's called cava de paraje calificado,
Cava de Paraje Calificada.
and it's the top tier of cava. It's made with grapes from a single exceptional vineyard,
Oh, wow.
and it's aged for a minimum of 36 months. It's the creme de la creme of cava,
Wow.
showcasing the unique characteristics of a specific site.
That sounds incredible.
It is!
But before we move on, we can't forget about Cava Rosé.
Of course, cava rosé is made with red grapes, typically Garnacha,
Okay.
and it brings a lovely burst of red fruit flavors to the party.
So whether you're looking for something crisp and refreshing
Yeah.
or rich and complex,
Mm-hmm.
there's a cava out there for everyone.
Exactly. There's a reason why cava is considered one of the world's great sparkling wines.
Well, I'm sold. But Penedès isn't just about the bubbles, right?
No.
They have a whole world of still wines that deserve our attention.
Yes, they do.
So tell me, what should we be on the lookout for?
When it comes to red wines, Tempranillo Garnata
Okay.
and Carnieta are the key players in Penedès.
Those are grapes I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
But what kind of reds do they make? Are they bold and powerful,
So,
like
like
some other Spanish reds?
Penedès reds are actually known for their balance.
Okay.
You'll find full-bodied wines,
Mm-hmm.
but with soft, approachable tannins.
Okay.
They're perfect for pairing with food
Yeah.
without overwhelming your palate.
So it's more about elegance and food friendliness.
Exactly. They're wines that you can enjoy with a meal
Yeah.
without being overpowered by harsh tannins.
Right.
And when it comes to white wines, guess what? Sarello, Macabeo, and Perolata
Oh, no.
are the stars of the show once again.
I'm sensing a theme here.
You are.
But I bet they taste completely different
They do.
when they're not made into sparkling wine.
You're absolutely right. In their still form, these grapes express themselves in a whole new way.
Okay.
You'll find a range of styles from crisp and citrusy whites,
Yeah.
perfect for a warm summer day,
Right.
to richer, more complex whites
Okay.
that can stand up to a more elaborate meal.
It sounds like there's a Penedès white wine for every taste and occasion.
There is.
But, I have a confession.
Okay.
I have a bit of a sweet tooth.
All right.
Are there any sweet or dessert wines made in this region?
You're in luck. Penedès has a tradition of making sweet and fortified wines.
Okay.
Think late harvest wines.
Yeah.
Where the grapes are left on the vine longer to concentrate their sugars.
Okay.
And wines made with noble rot grapes.
Ooh, noble rot.
Yes.
That sounds fascinating. What is it exactly?
It's a type of fungus, Botrytis cinerea,
Okay.
that dehydrates the grapes
Right.
and concentrates their sugars.
Wow.
And don't worry, it sounds weird, but it's a good thing.
Okay.
It creates these incredibly rich, complex, sweet wine.
So it's like nature's way of making dessert.
Exactly. And Penedès does it beautifully. They're not just overly sweet wines. They're
Yeah.
balanced with beautiful acidity and
Yeah.
layers of complex flavors.
Okay, so far we've got sparkling wines, reds, whites,
Mm-hmm.
and even sweet wines.
Yep.
It sounds like Penedès has it all.
They do.
But before we get too lost in all these delicious wines,
Okay.
we need to talk about how Spain classifies its wines.
Oh, right.
I know they have a system similar to France's AOC, right?
Yes. Spain uses a two-tier system, guarantee quality and origin,
Okay.
ensuring that you're getting what the label says you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
The first tier is DU,
Okay.
which stands for Denominación de Origen.
Right.
It's similar to France's AOC,
Okay.
with specific rules for the production area grape varieties
Yeah.
and winemaking methods.
So it's like a stamp of authenticity and quality.
Precisely. And the second tier is DOPE, which stands for Denominación de Origen Protegida.
Okay.
This is EU recognition
Okay.
with even stricter regulations than DU,
So you better.
providing an even higher level of quality assurance.
So if you see a dump on a Spanish wine label, you know you're getting the best of the best.
You got it.
But where does Penedès fit into all of this?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have their own DO?
They do. It's called Do Penedès,
Do Penedès.
and it covers a wide range of wines,
Makes sense.
reflecting the incredible diversity of the region.
Yeah, which makes sense considering we've already talked about everything from sparkling cava
Yeah,
to full-bodied reds to sweet wines.
it's true.
But there are even more DOS within Penedès, right?
Yes, you have the Cava Do,
Right.
which, as we discussed, is specifically for cava production,
Mhm.
ensuring it's made using the traditional method
Right.
and meets those high standards.
So it's a do within a do.
Exactly. And then there's Conca del Rio Anoia,
Conca del Rio
a
Anoia.
newer do
Okay.
known for its distinctive character,
Okay.
producing both still and sparkling wines
Interesting.
with a unique flair.
So it's like a region within a region.
Yes,
Each with its own unique personality and style.
exactly.
But tell me what exactly makes the wines from Conca del Rio Anoia so unique?
Well, they tend to have a slightly more rustic, earthy character
Okay.
than Penedès wines.
Interesting.
Some even say they have a mineral quality
Okay.
that reflects the region's unique terroir.
It's amazing how even within one region,
I know.
you can find so much diversity and nuance.
That's true.
This is starting to make my head spin, but in a good way, of course.
I understand.
It is remarkable. But, sometimes you need more than just a bottle to truly appreciate a wine region.
Yeah,
And Penedès is no exception. It's a place that begs to be experienced firsthand.
I agree.
Have you ever thought about visiting?
Oh, many times.
Oh, absolutely.
It's beautiful.
In fact, I'm starting to think I need to book a flight as soon as
You
possible.
should.
But tell me, what makes Penedès such a special place to visit?
Okay.
What kind of experience can I expect?
Well, imagine this. You arrive in Penedès,
Okay.
and you're greeted by these breathtaking landscapes, vineyards stretching as far as the eye can see.
Wow.
Those majestic mountains in the distance.
I can see it now.
You smell the intoxicating aroma of grapes ripening in the sun.
Yeah.
Catch a whiff of salty sea air.
Okay, you're really selling
This is
this.
beautiful.
But beyond the scenery, what about the wineries themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Are there big-name producers like in Napa or Bordeaux?
Absolutely. You have iconic wineries like Codornier,
Okay.
Faisanet Gramona,
Yeah.
and Torres. These are the heavy hitters, the names that are synonymous with cava and Penedès wine.
So if I want to experience the grand traditional side of Penedès,
Yeah,
I should head to those wineries.
absolutely. But I'm also a big fan of the smaller boutique wineries.
Okay.
They offer a more intimate, personalized experience.
I like that.
And you often get to meet the winemakers themselves.
Oh, I love that.
It's very special.
It's like getting a behind-the-scenes glimpse into the heart of Penedès winemaking.
It is
Are there any hidden gems you recommend?
definitely Jean Leon is a fantastic boutique winery
Jean Leon.
with a fascinating story. It was founded by a Spanish immigrant who went to Hollywood,
Wow.
became friends with the stars,
No way.
and eventually returned to his homeland to pursue his dream of making wine.
That's an incredible story.
It's a true rags to riches tale, and their wines are exceptional.
Okay, so Jean Leon's definitely going on my list.
Good.
What about wineries that are focusing on organic or biodynamic viticulture?
If you're interested in organic wines, Albert Inoya is a must-visit.
Albert Inoya.
They were pioneers of organic viticulture in Penedès,
Oh, wow.
and their commitment to sustainability shines through in their wines.
That's great.
They're proving that you can make world-class wines while respecting the environment.
So whether I'm looking for grand estates,
Yeah.
boutique gems, or organic pioneers, Penedès has it all.
It does.
But I have to ask, what about the food?
Oh, the food is amazing.
What kind of culinary delights await me in this region?
Get ready for a treat. Catalan cuisine is a true highlight of any trip to Penedès.
Okay, bring it on.
Imagine fresh seafood paella cooked over an open fire.
Oh, yeah?
tapas bursting with flavor,
Uh-huh.
and local charcuterie paired perfectly with a glass of Penedès red.
Okay, I'm officially starving.
I know, me too.
So we have world-class wines,
Yeah,
stunning scenery,
it's true.
and delicious food.
What more could you ask for?
What more could you ask for? But Penedès also has a vibrant culture,
Yes.
rich in traditions and festivities.
Lots of festivals.
Are there any festivals that you think are particularly special?
Oh, yeah.
Something I should try to time my trip around?
Absolutely. There's the Mostra de Vansicav de Penedès,
Mostra de Vansicav de Penedès.
a fantastic event where you can sample wines from all over the region,
Oh, wow.
meet the winemakers,
I love that.
and discover new favorites.
That sounds fun.
And if you're visiting in the fall, the Festa de la Verema,
Festa de la Vida.
the Grape Harvest Festival, is a must-do.
Okay.
It's a joyous celebration of Penedès' winemaking heritage,
Okay.
with parades, music, and of course, plenty of wine.
So there's something for everyone,
There is.
whether you're a wine enthusiast, a foodie, or a culture vulture.
Absolutely.
But before we get too carried away with planning our dream trip to Penedès,
Yeah.
we need to address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Climate change. I know it's a major challenge for wine regions around the world.
It is.
How is Penedès facing this threat?
Climate change is a reality that Penedès is taking very seriously.
Okay.
They're implementing strategies to mitigate its effects,
Like what?
such as managing water resources more efficiently,
Okay.
researching drought-resistant grape varieties,
Interesting.
and adapting their planting techniques to cope with a changing climate.
So they're being proactive and adapting to the new realities of winemaking
Yes.
in a changing world.
Exactly. They're committed to preserving their vineyards and their heritage for future generations.
That's inspiring to see how they're taking on this challenge.
It is.
But climate change isn't the only obstacle facing Penedès, right?
Right.
What about the competition?
Sure.
The global wine market is fiercely competitive.
Very competitive.
How are they staying ahead of the curve?
They're focusing on quality,
Okay.
uniqueness,
Yeah.
and building a strong brand identity.
Makes sense.
Consumers are becoming more discerning,
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking for wines with a story, wines that express a sense of place,
Right.
wines that are made with a care and respect for the environment.
And Penedès certainly has a compelling story to tell.
Oh, they do?
They do. They're also embracing new ways to connect with consumers,
Yes.
like ennotourism,
Uh-huh.
direct sales,
Yeah,
and yes, even podcasts like this one, to
exactly.
share their passion and knowledge with the world.
That's right.
It sounds like they're embracing the future while staying true to their roots.
Exactly. They're proving that tradition and innovation can not only coexist,
Yeah.
but can actually enhance each other.
This has been an incredible journey so far.
I agree.
I feel like I've just scratched the surface of what Penedès has to offer.
There's a lot more to discover.
But I have to ask, what are some of the key things that make Penedès wines so unique?
Mm-hmm.
What should we be looking for when we taste them?
That's a great question.
I mean, we've covered a lot of ground.
No, not...
Maybe we could use a little refresher
Sure.
on the unique characteristics of these wines.
Of course, when you're tasting a Penedès wine,
Okay.
whether it's a sparkling Kaga,
Yeah.
a robust red,
Mm-hmm.
or a crisp white, there are a few things to keep in mind.
All right, I'm ready.
Firstly, look for that vibrant acidity.
Okay.
That's characteristic of the region.
Okay.
The cool sea breezes and the mountainous terrain contribute to this lively acidity,
Right.
which gives the wines a refreshing quality.
So it's like a burst of sunshine in a glass.
Exactly. Then pay attention to the minerality.
Okay, mineral.
With diverse soils of Penedès, ranging from limestone to clay to granite,
Wow.
impart a distinct mineral character to the wines.
It's like you can taste the earth itself, the very essence of the terroir.
Precisely. And finally, notice the interplay of fruit and savory notes.
Okay.
Penedès wines often exhibit a beautiful balance
Yeah.
between ripe fruit flavors and herbal, earthy, or even slightly salty notes.
Interesting.
It's a really beautiful combination.
It's like a symphony of flavors.
It is.
Each element playing its part to create a harmonious whole.
You're getting it. And the best part is that this unique combination of characteristics is present across their entire range of wines.
Wow.
From the most basic cava to the most complex still wines.
It's like a fingerprint, a signature that says,
Yes.
this is Penedès.
Yes, exactly.
This has been an amazing exploration of Penedès so far.
I've enjoyed it.
But I know we have much more to uncover.
We do.
So stay tuned as we continue our deep dive into the heart of Penedès.
All right.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Penedès.
Hey.
We've been talking about what makes these wines so unique.
Right.
That acidity, the minerality, the balance of fruit and savory notes.
Yeah.
But I have to confess, I'm still a bit fuzzy on how Spain's wine classification system works.
Yeah, it can be a bit confusing.
Right? Like, how does I actually play out when I'm looking at a bottle of Penedès wine?
Well, think about it this way. When you see Beau Penedès,
Okay.
that's your guarantee that the wine comes from the region
Right.
and follows the specific rules
Mm-hmm.
for grape varieties and winemaking method.
Right.
It's like a quality control stamp.
That makes sense. But then we also have Cava Duo,
Right.
which is specific to sparkling wines, right?
Exactly. It's like a do within a do.
Okay.
Ensuring that you're getting authentic cava
Okay.
made in the traditional method.
And then there's Conca del Rio Anoia,
Right.
which is a newer...
Yeah.
But you said their wines have a distinct character.
They do.
What sets them apart?
There's a certain rusticity and
Mhm.
earthiness to the wines from Conca del Rio and Anoia.
Interesting.
The soils there is different,
Okay.
with more slate and clay.
Right.
And that really comes through in the wines.
It's fascinating how, even within Penedès,
I know.
you have these micro-regions with their own personalities.
It's true.
But let's circle back to something you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Those clay amphorae that some producers are using for fermentation.
Yeah.
That's not exactly traditional, is it?
It's actually a very ancient technique,
Oh.
dating back to Roman times and even earlier.
Wow.
What's old is new again.
I guess so. But why are winemakers going back to this ancient method?
Oh.
What does it bring to the wine?
Clay amphorae allow for a very slow, gentle fermentation.
Okay.
They're porous, so they allow for a tiny bit of oxygen exchange,
Okay.
which can soften the tannins
Yeah.
and create a rounder, more textural wine.
So it's like taking a step back in time,
It is.
but with a modern understanding of how these ancient techniques can enhance the wine.
Exactly. And it's not just about the amphorae themselves, it's also about the philosophy behind it.
Okay.
Many of these producers are looking to create wines that are more natural,
Yeah.
more expressive of the terroir,
Mm-hmm.
and that have a sense of history and authenticity.
That's what I love about exploring wine regions,
Me too.
uncovering these layers of history, tradition, and innovation.
It's true. And Penedès is a prime example of a region that embraces all of these elements.
Yeah, but we've been talking a lot about wine,
We have.
and I'm starting to get thirsty.
Me too.
How about we take a virtual trip to Penedès
Okay.
and imagine ourselves exploring the region?
What's on the itinerary?
Well, no trip to Penedès would be complete without a visit to Montserrat,
Ah, Montserrat.
the mountain range with the monastery perched on a cliff.
Yes.
You mentioned it earlier.
It's a truly magical place.
Yeah.
You can hike or take a cable car up to the monastery.
Okay.
And the views are breathtaking. You can see all of Penedès spread out before you.
Wow.
The vineyards like a patchwork quilt.
The village.
The villages nestled in the valleys.
Yes.
And the Mediterranean Sea shimmering in the distance.
Okay, you've sold me. Montserrat is definitely on my list.
Good.
But what about after we've soaked in the views?
Okay.
Where should we head for some wine tasting?
Well, if you're looking for a ground historical experience,
Okay.
I recommend visiting Codorniu.
Codorniu.
They have these incredible underground cellars
Wow.
that are a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
UNESCO World Heritage Site. That's impressive. What's so special about these cellars?
They're like a labyrinth stretching for miles beneath the ground.
Wow.
They were built in the 19th century,
Okay.
and they're a testament to the scale and ambition
Yeah,
of cava production in Penedès.
I can imagine.
You can take a tour through the cellars,
Yeah.
learn about the history of cava,
Mm-hmm.
and of course sample their wines.
That sounds amazing. But let's say I'm in the mood for something a little more intimate,
Okay,
a little more off the beaten path.
all right.
Where would you recommend I go?
If you're looking for a hidden gem,
Okay.
I recommend checking out a small family-run winery called Canrafos dels Caus.
Canrafos dels Caus.
They're located in the Garraf Mountains,
Oh,
and they produce some truly unique wines
okay.
that reflect the character of this wild, rugged terrain.
The Garraf Mountains, I don't think we've talked about those yet.
They're a smaller mountain range that runs along the coast south of Barcelona.
Okay.
They're known for their dramatic limestone cliffs
Wow.
and their unique microclimate, which is influenced by the sea and the mountains.
Okay, so Canrafos dels Caus is definitely going on my list.
Good choice.
But, me, I'm always on the hunt for something unique and different.
Of course you are.
What about a winery that's doing something truly innovative?
Okay.
Something that's pushing the boundaries of winemaking.
If you're looking for innovation, you have to visit Recaredo.
Recaredo.
They're known for their biodynamic farming practices
Right.
and their experimental approach to winemaking.
Remind me, what does biodynamic farming entail? It's more than just organic, right?
It is biodynamic farming takes a holistic approach to viticulture.
Okay.
They view the vineyard as a living ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
and they use special preparations made from herbs and minerals
Okay.
to enhance the soil and the vines.
Interesting.
They also follow the lunar calendar for planting and harvesting.
So it's about working in harmony with nature
It is.
rather than trying to control it.
Exactly, and Recaredo's wines are a testament to this approach.
Okay.
They're elegant, balanced,
Yeah.
and have a purity of flavor that's truly remarkable.
So we have grand estates, hidden gems, and biodynamic innovators.
We do.
It sounds like Penedès has something for everyone.
It does, but let's not forget about the food.
Oh, right, the food. What are some of the must-try Catalan dishes?
Well, you can't go wrong with a classic paella.
Paella.
In Penedès, they often use local seafood and rabbit in their paella,
Interesting.
which gives it a unique flavor.
Paella and Penedes wine. That sounds like a perfect pairing.
It is. What else is on the menu?
You have to try the calçots.
Cal.
They're a type of Springs onion
Okay.
that's grilled over an open fire
Sounds good.
and served with a romesco sauce.
That's Esco sauce.
Yeah.
That's...
Messy, but it's delicious.
I agree. Okay, I'm definitely adding calços to my list.
What about something sweet
Okay.
to finish off the meal?
All right.
What's the Penedès equivalent of dessert?
Well, if you have a sweet tooth, you have to try the melimato.
Melimato.
It's a simple but delicious dessert
Okay.
made with fresh cheese and honey.
Fresh cheese and honey. That sounds like a perfect way to end a meal.
It is. But, after all this talk about wine and food,
Okay.
I'm starting to think about the bigger picture.
Okay.
Penedès seems like a region that's really in tune with its environment,
I agree.
with its history, with its culture.
You're right. There's a sense of place in Penedès.
Mm-hmm.
A connection to the land and the traditions that runs deep.
Absolutely.
I guess that's what makes it so special.
It is. But as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to ask you a question that's been on my mind.
Okay, I'm ready.
What does the future hold for Penedès?
That's a good question.
With all the challenges facing the wine world today,
Right.
from climate change to shifting consumer trends,
Yeah.
how do you see this region evolving?
That is a great question. And I think the answer lies in the very qualities
Okay,
that make Penedès so unique.
I like that.
Its adaptability, its willingness to embrace both tradition and innovation,
Mm-hmm.
and its deep respect for the land.
I agree. Can you give me some specific examples of how those qualities are shaping the future of Penedès?
Absolutely. Let's start with climate change.
Okay.
Penedès winemakers are already adapting
They are.
to the challenges of a changing climate.
Yeah,
We talked about some of the measures they're taking, like water conservation
right.
and experimenting with drought-resistant grapes.
Mm-hmm.
But are there other innovations on the horizon?
There are some producers are exploring the use of precision viticulture,
Okay.
which uses technology to monitor and manage vineyards more effectively. They're also experimenting with new training systems
Okay.
for the vines that can help protect them from extreme weather events.
So it's about harnessing technology to preserve their heritage.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of changing consumer preferences.
Right, consumer trends.
Millennials and Gen Z are drinking less wine than previous generations.
Interesting.
And they're looking for different things in their wines.
So how is Penedès responding to these changing tastes?
They're focusing on producing wines that are fresh, vibrant, and food-friendly.
Okay.
They're also experimenting with new blends and grape varieties
Yeah.
to create wines that appeal to a wider range of palates.
So it's about adapting to the times
It is.
while still maintaining the essence of Penedès wine.
Exactly. But beyond these practical measures,
Right.
what about the overall philosophy of Penedès winemaking?
Okay.
How do you see that evolving in the future?
I think we'll see a continued emphasis on sustainability,
I agree.
both of the vineyards and in the winery.
Mm-hmm.
Consumers are becoming increasingly aware of the environmental impact of their choices,
Right.
and they're demanding wines that are produced in a responsible way. So it's about more than just making great wine.
Yeah.
It's about making wine that's good for the planet as well.
Exactly. And I think Penedès is well-positioned to lead the way in this area.
Right.
They have a long tradition of respecting the land,
Right.
and they're constantly innovating to find new ways to reduce their environmental footprint.
It's inspiring to see how they're balancing tradition and progress,
It is.
finding ways to honor their heritage while embracing the future.
Exactly. And that's what makes Penedès such an exciting region to watch.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to challenge the status quo,
Mm-hmm.
to experiment, and to push the boundaries of what's possible in winemaking.
Well, after this deep dive into Penedès, I'm convinced that this is a region with a bright future.
I couldn't agree more. Penedès is a region that has it all.
It does.
A rich history, a unique terroir, passionate winemakers,
Yeah.
and a commitment to quality and sustainability.
Right.
It's a place that deserves to be on every wine lover's radar.
I think you've convinced me,
Good.
and hopefully our listeners,
Yes.
that Penedès is a must-visit destination.
It is, and if you can't make it to Penedès anytime soon,
Right.
I encourage you to seek out some of their wines
Yeah.
and experience the magic for yourself.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired to open a bottle of Penedès wine
Way to...
and raise a toast to this incredible region.
I'll join you in that. Cheers to Penedès.
A region.
A region where history, tradition, and innovation come together
Yeah.
to create some of the world's most exciting wines.
And with that toast, we'll be right back after a quick break to wrap up our Penedès adventure.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've explored the history, the terroir, the wines, even taken a virtual trip to Penedès. But before we wrap things up, I'd love to hear your take on this. If you could recommend just one bottle of Penedès wine for our listeners to try, what would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. There are so many great choices.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick just one.
I'd go with the white Xarello.
Ooh, interesting. We've talked about Xarello is a key grape in cava.
Right?
And even as a red wine.
Yes.
But you're recommending a white Xarello.
I am. For me, it really embodies the spirit of Penedès.
Okay.
It has that vibrant acidity,
Yeah.
those intriguing herbal and mineral notes,
Mm-hmm.
even a hint of salinity from the sea breeze.
I like it.
It's a wine that truly reflects its origins.
So it's a wine that really speaks of the place, the terroir.
Exactly.
But Xarello still feels like a bit of a hidden gem.
It does.
Why do you think it hasn't achieved the same global recognition as some other Spanish white grapes like Albarino or Verdejo?
It's a good question. Maybe it's because Xarello can be a bit more demanding,
Okay.
a bit less immediately fruity and easygoing.
Right.
But that's what I find so compelling about it.
Okay.
It's a wine that makes you think, that rewards you with each sip as you unravel its layers.
So it's not a wine for those who just want something simple and easy drinking?
No,
It's a wine for those who are willing to explore, to really delve into the nuances of flavor.
exactly. It's a wine for our kind of people.
I like that.
The curious, the adventurous, those who are always seeking new discoveries.
Well, I'm sold. I'm officially adding find a bottle of Xarello to my to-do list.
Good.
But beyond just trying one specific wine,
Yeah.
what do you hope our listeners take away from this deep dive into Penedès?
I hope they've gained a deeper understanding of the region's incredible history,
Yeah.
its unique terroir, and the dedication of its winemakers to producing exceptional wines.
Mm-hmm.
But more than that, I hope they've inspired to explore Penedès for themselves.
To experience those breathtaking vineyards,
Yeah,
to taste the sunshine and the sea breeze in every glass of wine.
precisely. Penedès is a region that offers a true sensory experience.
Absolutely.
A journey of discovery for those who are willing to venture off the beaten path.
So to our listeners, we challenge you, seek out a bottle of Penedès wine.
Yes.
Compare different aging levels of cava. Try a Xarello. Maybe even plan a trip to this incredible region. Let Penedès surprise you.
It will. And as you explore this fascinating world of wine,
Yeah.
we'll leave you with one final thought-provoking question.
Okay, hit me.
How does the blend of tradition and innovation shape the future of Penedès? And how can that inspire us in our own lives? Until next time, happy exploring.
Cheers to that.